Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Mm.
Veronica, I'm not used to seeing you without your glasses.
No. Honestly, I was running late and I don't know where they are.
Oh, so if we see you squinting at the screen, real quickly. All right.
All right. We've got lots of great things to catch up on tonight. So it is 7:30. We'll go ahead and get started if everyone is okay with that. Thanks for coming to our April PTSO meeting for Homestead High School. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We are going to go ahead and call things to order and jump right into our administrative reports. Patrick, do you want to start?
I'd love to start. So prom was a great success. Thanks for your support there. Everybody had a good time, and everybody's excited for next year if they're still gonna be at the school. Unfortunately, the seniors were bummed, but this is a good time. For student council, looking forward, we're electing new board members. So next meeting will be joined by my replacement, and we're also organizing a end of year yearbook signing. And that'll be our last activity before the end of the year. With AP test coming up, we're kind of winding down.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being our liaison this year. Thank you for keeping us informed and keeping us updated. We really appreciate it. And it's been great to work with you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the meetings.
Of course. Anything else before we move on?
Not for me.
All right. Thanks so much. Then we'll move on to Mr. Ebert, if that works for you.
Do you
Probably
want
go
me
with,
to jump in?
let's go with Mrs. Blahnik first.
Oh, yep.
Okay. I'll try and, is that okay? I'll try not to steal his thunder.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Good evening, everybody. I do have a little bit of a long list, but I'll just
Oh.
kind of surface level touch over stuff because I'm sure Mr. Ebert has more stats or wants to kind of go in depth on some of these things as well. My first item was prom, as Patrick noted. So again, shout out to student council, the PTSO, and everybody who played a role in that successful event at the Pritzlaff building. Got to see a lot of student outfits, smiling faces. It sounded like they had a great time. I heard the food was good as well. So that was my first item. We're well into the trimester. Last week was action packed. The beginning of last week, we had our day 20 progress reports, so kind of a milestone for Tri 3. I'll kind of talk about the academic side first. So then obviously we had parent-teacher conferences. Always a great time to connect with parents about their student, both virtually and in person. I still got to connect with many people. I know sometimes we have a little bit less participation in Tri 3, but my schedule was kind of packed. It was nice to see everyone kind of engaging in that. As always, thank you so much for feeding us that day with the taco bar. A lot of smiling faces from the teachers and those extra goodies. It just makes the night run smoothly. And so we really appreciate that. Beyond conferences, besides that aspect of the week, we also did our first Career Fest day. I think that's what we're calling it, right, Mr. Ebert? He'll talk more about it, I'm sure. I'll kind of talk about just my end. I was fortunate enough to sort of participate in a lot of factions that happened that day. So we had members of the community come in. It was really impressive. I'm sure Mr. Ebert agrees. We just really appreciate members of the community taking time from their lives, their families, their jobs to just share a little bit about their job and perspective and journey to students who are engaging in these thoughts and conversations about what they want to do or ruling out what they don't. Either way, it's insightful. I think every person they met with, they took something away from it. I got to be in a room where there was a chiropractic doctor. He was really well spoken with students, answered all their questions. Students were engaged. So that was really impressive. There was also some things going on in the field house, a lot of vendors giving away free stuff. There were therapy dogs. The students, I think, were really engaged, blown away. And the students also just, I think, really tried to take in every opportunity to talk to people. I think some even walked away with summer jobs. I just was really impressed. So huge shout out to Matt Wolf. And anybody who helped to organize it, supervise it, and of course the community members. So I hope I didn't say too much about that, but I'm sure Mr. Ebert will talk more about it. Simultaneously, we had, so the Career Fest was for juniors and seniors, and then we also had testing going on, the pre-ACT and the forward testing for freshmen and sophomores. So that went well in a different part of the building. So that was last week, big week. This past Monday, we students had off, and then we had an in-service. So we got to meet with some of the middle school teachers again, which is really beneficial just to kind of talk over curriculum and some of our major skills and assessments so we can be more aligned with some of those decisions, talking about priority standards. Besides academics, we also have big events coming up. We have the spring play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So this weekend, couple opportunities to see it on the 25th through the 27th. So hopefully our community members can make time to go see that, or some students. We have our spring sports underway, etc. Many of our students, I think Patrick mentioned AP exams. That's going to be coming up in May. Big time for our students, right? Studying in booth sessions or on their own for these exams that they've prepared for most of the year while being in their Tri-3 classes still. So stressful time, but important time. Hopefully they're getting enough sleep and engaging in all those healthy behaviors so we can kind of make that opportunity pay off. What else? We also have, I would just say, to kind of finish out the trimester strong, I know we're going to meet again. We'll have our day 40 progress reports coming up. So just encouraging your student to keep up with their studies and have a great, successful rest of the trimester. And that's what I have.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Good luck with all of your AP tests.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mr. Ebert.
Yeah, I'll happily go. And I won't repeat what Patrick or Melissa had to say. They both did a great job sharing what's going on, what's been going on, and what we've got coming up moving forward here. So I'll try to focus a little bit on something different here for a second. We just finished day 26 of the trimester, right? And so it's hard for any of us to believe we are at the back half of Tri-3. And the 24-25 school year, which you put so much time into planning for, right? You invite the kids in, and then you go through the year, and it flies by. I know everybody knows that. So you got kids going through the system, going through the high school. We say it all the time, but man, time flies, and it really does. As you know, each year students take the school perception survey. Where they are able to provide us some feedback on their experience, and we're able to utilize some of that feedback at a macro level, and then also at a micro level, just based on what they need is along the way. But we really do engage with the data in a way that helps our thought processes and decision making around different programs, the way we're going to treat, the way we're going to operate with our students, how we're going to connect resources across the school to support all kids. Melissa knows this because we talk about it regularly in our faculty learning. And I'll just share a couple of key points from the school perception survey on a macro level in our students, right? Some of the big questions that we look at that students answer, they answer on a scale of 1 to 4. right? So 3 and 4 would be that we agree or strongly agree. So I'll just share the percentage of students who would score 3. Actually, it's a scale of 0 to 4. And so it's a 5-point scale, but 3 and 4, students who rate 3 and 4, meaning they agree or strongly agree with the comment. And we like to compare that across years, across cohorts, and then cohort by cohort over time as well. It means a lot to us. Some big ones we look at: my classmates care about me. That's an important one. 77% of students indicated that they feel their classmates care about them. That's a 5% jump from just a year ago. I feel I belong at this school. 80% of students, a jump of nearly 2%. There's at least one adult in my school that I can talk to about a personal problem. 85% of students rated that agree or strongly agree, a jump of nearly 3%. There is one or more adults in my school who care about my future. 93% of students felt that way, a jump. There's at least one adult in the school that I can talk to about my classwork when I need to. 94%. Okay. What I believe what I'm learning in school is preparing me for next year. 81%. That's incredibly high when we consider our teenagers and what they might be thinking about right now. I believe what I'm learning in school will help me be successful in life. 72%, a jump of 4.5% from a year ago. I feel well prepared for college and or life after high school. 77%, a jump of 4%. I explore careers and jobs that may interest me after high school. 81%. Of course, Melissa was just talking about the Career Fest, which I can get into as well, but she did a great job explaining it. A jump of nearly 4%, right? I feel safe at school. 91%. I participate in one or more clubs, sports, or activities. 89%. Right? All of these things are really, really important. I have a good relationship with adults at my school. 89%. Importantly, I am respected and treated fairly at school. 87%. My teachers and others are interested in my thoughts and opinions. 87%. I share these with an understanding from my lens, having looked at these over time. It's my 8th year in the building, 6 years principal. Melissa's been here the whole time. I've been the principal. We haven't been in a better place than we are now in terms of how our students feel about their experience at Homestead. Now, it's not every kid, every hour, every day, but that's our goal, right? And our numbers continue to show that we are trending in the right direction in ensuring that each kid is, first off, feeling seen and heard, is developing relationships with adults, is able to develop relationships with their peers, is feeling confident and prepared for their futures. Feel really good about where we're at in the 24-25 school year. And it's just data to celebrate for sure. Are we perfect? No, right? Do kids have gripes about things? They come home and talk about stuff that may have happened here or there, or are stressed about things and have anxieties that they have to work through as teens in school and the world? Of course. But I think it's safe to say we've got the right adults in our building, right? And the right culture in the building that continues to move each of our students forward. So I'm happy to present some of that stuff, happy to talk more about it if we want. But we've utilized this stuff, no doubt, to ensure that we are at least attempting to be, and that we are the school that we say we want to be, and that's a school of belonging, a school that all students feel seen and heard. So to build off of what Patrick said about the student experience and Melissa said about the student experience and our academic experience, the social emotional experience on top of it, our data would tell us is going in the right direction. I'll quickly state about all the things Melissa mentioned, right? Parent-teacher conferences. I won't keep reiterating some of this stuff. We had a positive turnout. Certainly, third trimester is a little less more lightly attended than second try and first try. We'd set records for attendance, and at least in our Meet the Teacher era, in first and second trimester. And so we're happy with that. Enjoy our positive relationships with parents. Those proactive relationships are crucially important for kids' success. I know I'm looking at people on the screen here. I know you guys come to these things. We still want more people as we go. But obviously, greatly appreciate the taco bar and all the support that the team gives us. There's no doubt about that. Yep, we worked through testing. We've got AP testing coming up. We were really pleased with the results of our Career Fest. Um, Melissa mentioned Matt Wolf. I will say Matt Wolf played a very big role, our ACP coordinator, big role in connecting with people in the community and beyond, in ensuring that we had the right people to come in and present to our kids, not only in the classrooms, but then in our career fair. And Melissa's right. Some kids even landed summer jobs, like really neat experience that we had, a thoughtful experience. I was engaged in many conversations with people to try to help get this thing organized. I mean, kids had their own schedules, right? Kids selected, self-selected through Zello in our ACP homerooms at earlier times. To at least try to ensure that they were going to get assigned to speakers that they had interest in. Got some feedback from kids. We might make some changes as we go in the future. But as I talk to kids, and I'm sure as Melissa talked to kids, like the experience was a really good one. Like we learned some things about careers and the journey that people take from high school to high school and beyond, right? And it may not just be a straight line where we're going. Important lessons to hear about, not just from our parents, right? Not just from our teachers, but also from people from the outside. The feedback that we received from the Career Fest guests was incredible about our students. Not that we don't know this, not that we didn't think our kids would be engaged, or that they would be thoughtful in asking questions, or that they would be well behaved. They are that. That's what we are. That's our school. But so many people came to me, came to Matt, came to other people, and just said, "Man, this Homestead group this is incredible." Right? We're coming back. We got to come back here. I'm telling other people about coming out here. So our kids represented themselves really well. Really proud about the experience. Some things that we're going to touch up and change in the future, but we do look to do something like this in the future. I'll just I have a list here. I'm just going to read a few of them just to show the diversity in people or in careers that we had. Marine biologist, social work, lawyer, doctor, surgeon, engineer, physical therapist, finance and business, architect, nurse practitioner, IT, physicist, broadcaster, actor, psychologist, pharmacist, business owners, auto mechanics, art directors, biochemist, right? Like just to name a few. We had more than that. And it's going to get bigger and better as we go. People are excited to be there, and our engaged students really made it over the top. It was the first of its kind that we've had at Homestead. I know they have them; they exist other places. It's the first time we've ever had it at Homestead, so we're looking forward to bringing that back. The prom, Patrick talked about it. Melissa saw the pictures. Kids had a great time. I say it every year. It is the highlight of my spring. I really enjoy the prom. I like that Mrs. Ackman and Mrs. Pfaff do all the planning, and that I get to come along for the ride. I help very little, or I help some, but little. They know what they're doing in planning essentially a wedding, right? For our 500 guests. Seeing kids dressed up, enjoying themselves is great. The Pritzlaff was great. Appreciate everybody's help in any way that you did. We are looking forward to the domes next year for our next prom. Yes, lots going on. We got the play coming up this weekend, Midsummer Night's Dream. We got all sorts of sports. The spring is crazy with stuff going on every single night. People are very busy with things. A couple of things to point out. We got merit award ceremony in a few weeks. So if your student is earning the merit award, I'd recommend that you come. We'll have a guest speaker. We'll go through some things, hand out the award. The ceremony is efficient in a 45-minute time frame, and so it's worth popping in the school to accept that. I think this came out as well this week, but Friday, May 24th, which was that flex day, listed as a flex day, is a non-student day. Of course, knock on wood, if you have any, we don't have any large storms between now and then. I don't think we will. And then, as I'll end here, I'm talking about how good of a year that we've had, how things look bright for the future. And at the same time, we got graduation nearing, where we are going to usher out our class of 2025, which has been a nice senior class of kids. Senior dinner June 8th. We've been working on that. Graduation coming up as well. Information will be coming from me and Dana Orozco soon about all the details related to graduation. And as we usher out one group, we usher in another, the class of 2029. I can't believe every year we say, wow, man, 2029. Our newest group of Highlanders, we've got freshman co-curricular night for May 5th. So if you know people who are the class of 2029, they probably came to our academic information night. Suggest that they come meet some of the coaches and advisors at co-curricular night for the hour on May 5th. That's what I've got. I'm happy to stick around if anybody's got questions for me.
Mr. Ebert, I have one question regarding the career day.
Trudy.
That's extended just to the juniors and seniors, correct?
This year it was for juniors and seniors, and the reason it was that, and we're open to suggestions, but it was just juniors and seniors because we decided to double up on our pre-ACT testing day for freshmen and sophomores. So half the school was doing the testing and half the school did the career fest. We looked at, hey, if we're going to double test for pre-ACT, what unique opportunity could we create for the juniors and seniors? And we'll see what we do next year. Any thoughts, Trudy?
Just thinking that it might be kind of nice for sophomores to get involved, so maybe they'd have some heads up on finishing out their schedule for their junior and senior year might be helpful.
Appreciate the feedback. It's definitely in the hopper of or in the conversation for next year.
I have a question about graduation. Do you typically have an idea of how long ceremony is and how long to plan for?
Yeah, Linda. Yes. The goal is 75 minutes or under.
Awesome. Okay. And then there's pictures and stuff to follow. Yes.
Well, so people can, so it starts at 6, right? We'll have, I'll say a few words. We'll have 3 speakers. Obviously, none of this stuff's been set yet.
Sure.
We'll have some music play, traditional things that we do every year at the Homestead graduation, which I mean, anybody who goes knows it's a great ceremony. And then of course, naming off all of our students. After that, we'll walk out together as a class one last time, and then it's essentially, I hate to say free reign, but it is, of the building and outside for people to take pictures all they want. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. That helps. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Well, you guys are sharing such exciting news about the end of the year and how these classes have done. Our thanks to you for being such amazing partners, Melissa and Eric, sharing these updates, keeping our members updated, just keeping us involved and knowing what's going on in the building. We hear all of these great reports coming home from our students, but it's just really nice to know the interaction, the support, the engagement they're getting in their school, with their teachers, with their classmates. So thank you very much. We jumped right into things tonight because I was running a little bit late, but just wanted to give everybody an overview of kind of our meeting for tonight. Thank you for being here. As a reminder, these meetings are recorded, so we can share them later if you can't make the whole meeting, or if you know somebody who missed it. Please make sure you share with your friends and neighbors that these meetings are recorded and they can follow up after the fact. We did just run through our administrative reports. We do have a guest speaker tonight. Mr. Mansfield is here to talk about student engagement within the Mequon-Thiensville School District system. So we're thrilled to have him with us, and we'll introduce him here in just a second. And then we will, after that, run through our officer reports. We do have a lot of committee reports to share, and just want to call attention to some opportunities moving forward as this school year is kind of wrapping up. We will be nominating our board for next year, and then also just talking about opportunities to get involved in the PTSO next year. We have a lot of opportunities for positions on some of our committees, and then running through some of any other business from our members. So that is our meeting tonight. Any questions before we kick it off to Mr. Mansfield? Okay, wonderful. I haven't seen him with my view here, but I do believe he's here. Mr. Mansfield is the Director of Student Social, Behavioral, and Health Services for the district, and he's going to talk to us about student engagement tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm here. I hope you can see me now.
And thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I want to just say how much I appreciate Mr. Ebert's mention of some of the results that we just got. So he gave you a bit of an update. So keep those things in mind as it relates to some of the percentages he listed off as we're talking about how we engage with students and kind of what we do with that. That was a firsthand account of how our principals in the buildings often take that information and use it to kind of plan some of their goals as they go. Thank you for putting this up. I can kind of lead you along if you'd like.
If this is helpful, I can certainly push the sharing over to you if you would like to do that, but I'm happy to help if I can.
Yeah, we can just start here. That's okay. So student engagement, as Mr. Ebert mentioned, we use a company called School Perceptions, and School Perceptions has a student engagement survey. We use that survey once a year in the spring, and then we have 3 actually intermittent pulse surveys that we use throughout the year that are designed to give us kind of leading indicators on what we believe is going to end up having with the student engagement survey. So if we're kind of talking about the why, so we're going to go 2 more slides. So really, the what and why, right? Student engagement is active involvement and commitment to academic and social activities at school. The reason it's so important, it's important to understand how students spend their free time, what their perception of how intense or how rigorous school is and how much it assists them, how they utilize the different systems we have in the buildings, and then planning for life after high school. The intention of the survey and kind of measuring some of these things is we realize that greater academic achievement, increased peer acceptance, higher well-being, decreased behavioral concerns, and increased knowledge of student needs are all things that kind of come together in this component. And we take this idea from post-secondary readiness, right? There's a lot of evidence out there about how students interact with the school, how connected they feel, and post-secondary outcomes, right? So while we in Mequon-Thiensville want to obviously have students that have a fantastic educational experience while they're within our walls, ultimately our job is to also prepare them for the post-secondary experience and outcomes. So we're going to go into just really quick how it's measured. I talked about this a little bit, but so our student engagement survey has 7 indices. So each indice has a series of questions that refer back to the indice itself. So connectedness, drive, citizenship and leadership, preparation, social emotional aptitude, wellness, and academic and career planning. In the next few days, because we actually just got these in the mail, we just got these out to the mail yesterday. We just got the results obviously back from Mr. Ebert today. So the slide that I'm going to show you with the district-wide data is not actually updated because we just got some of the stuff today. So I'll be able to talk a little bit about it. But those things that the essential report card, I hate to call them that, but the results of the survey, when they come back to you, these are the different areas that you'll see on the indices. And these indices come together to have a total composite score. Our goal, or milestone 7, is to have students have a 3 or higher, right? And back to what Mr. Ebert said, 3 or higher means agree or better, right? So that's what we're looking for. Whenever we use the school pulse survey, so that's those 3 surveys that we break down that have fewer questions. What we do each year is, so the student engagement survey that we just got back, what we'll do is, as administration, we'll take a look at that. We'll see where our areas of deficit are as compared to the other areas. One of the luxuries that we have is areas of deficit aren't the easiest to come by. We generally have higher percentages, but that still doesn't mean we're not focused on continuous improvement. So we'll find those areas of deficiencies that we see as compared to the other points. We'll use those to prepare ourselves to ask further questions in the student engagement survey, pulse surveys, as the year goes on. And then we use those in a variety of different places. So we'll have them in teacher meetings, we'll have them in student services meetings, we'll have them at administrative meetings, and even I, as a district administrator, will get involved in helping in planning some of those surrounding student support. Beyond that, it's not the only thing that we use. Obviously, data is data, and data only tells part of the story. And so other things that we use to help kind of assess how our students are doing as far as being connected with us at school are things like grades, attendance, behavioral data, and just participation in extracurriculars and overall and being seen, right? So just because a student doesn't participate in some of our sports, maybe they participate in some other extracurriculars, but involvement has direct correlations with success in high school and in post-secondary. So that's kind of how we measure and the different things we use and kind of how we go about looking at everything. It's very common for us to come together and review these specific things whenever we have students of concern or we have students that come to us with different concerns. So really quick for this next couple of slides, what we're just going to talk about, so the next slide after that there for me, is what the actual breakdown of those different indices are, right? So connectedness is simply just how do students feel with peers and adults. You've heard some of the questions that Mr. Ebert kind of relayed. Is there someone in the building that cares about me? Is there a student, or do students care about me? Is there someone that's concerned about my future? Those questions really dig home the importance of creating relationships. And as evidenced by some of Mr. Ebert's increases, and this has been district-wide that we saw this year, we've been really, really deliberate, especially since COVID, in trying to recreate that school atmosphere that we had beforehand that everybody so intensely yearned for. And we're moving in the right direction. Still work to be done, but we're moving there. Drive is making sure and finding that students have the ability to persevere through intense tasks. So being able to resolve and kind of work through that difficulty, that stress, that anxiety of setbacks, right? If I get an F or a D on an assignment, what do I do about it? Do I shut down or do I actually work through the process of being able to figure out how to grow, right? Citizenship, it's how they're motivated to not only inspire themselves or others around them in kind of moving forward and kind of being a part of the greater whole. And do they see this as a role model, or can they see themselves contributing? On our next slide, we have preparation, social emotional aptitude, and wellness. So preparation just talks about some of those post-secondary aspects. How well do students actually understand what some of those post-secondary outcomes are? I'd really like to highlight this for a moment. Matt Wolf did a really good job. The career fair was really amazing. We're seeing a really great increase in some of our outcomes as it relates to students' understanding of academic and career preparation and how that looks. And kids are able to not only understand it, but articulate it, right? That's a really important part of this. Social emotional aptitude is, do they understand their own emotions and how to kind of regulate them? And if they don't, do they know how to seek out help for how to regulate them? And do they demonstrate self-control and empathy for others? And then wellness has to do with the more physical aspect of wellness. Does the student exercise? Are they getting enough sleep? Do they eat well? Those types of things. And those are kind of the different places that we kind of talk about as far as those indices. On our next slide, I always need to highlight the importance of student engagement skills, right? We talk about post-secondary readiness and we talk about the importance of how the school perception survey helps us measure some of those attributes. Well, the reason that we use school perceptions in particular as it relates to post-secondary readiness is it also aligns with what we call the Notable 9, which is skills for workforce readiness, right? We're measuring organization, collaboration, interpersonal skills, work ethic, adaptability, critical thinking, leadership, creativity, and professionalism. Any of those folks that were at the career fair, if they're telling you what they're looking for in new employees and what colleges are looking for on applications, they're looking for these specific skills, right? Any student who has these skills can be prepared to go to any profession in any place. And our idea behind having the perception survey, being able to measure some of these things, is to give students these skills so then they can make the choice to make the best direction forward that they would like, right? The empowerment of choice with the skill. That's the important thing. We're not there to tell them what they should be doing, but we are there to guide them in places that their skills will align and give them the skills to be able to say, I can do whatever it is that I want and I'm interested in. So this next slide just highlights our strategic plan goal, right? Like I said, so goal 3, we also have a milestone that's associated with this, is foster collaboration and develop relationships to advance the safety, connectedness, and well-being of our students. In particular, we're trying to hit a 3 or higher. What you see here is our student engagement results since we started measuring them back in 2018. As you can see, we kind of had a bit of a dip. We started at 61%. We bottomed out at 55% post-pandemic with people coming back and really had an unsure concept of how things were going. We really dug in and tried really hard to reestablish those connections. We got to 58% in 2022, 2023, 23, 24, we were at 63%. I am proud to say that we are at 72% district-wide for the 24-25 school year as we just got back, and that's hot off the presses from earlier today. So really proud of the increase. It's the highest we've ever seen. So again, 72% of students district-wide, 4th grade through 12th, state that their perception survey conglomerate score is a 3 or higher. And that's something that we're really proud of, and it's really evidence of how all of our teams across the district and in Homestead have used these indicators, put them in their school improvement plans, and been very deliberate about making those connections with students and driving some of those academic outcomes. So when we talk about strategic plan objectives, right, it's specifically goal 3. And there are 3 parts within that. So culturally responsive principles, cultivating authentic and positive internal and external relationships, integrating social emotional practices with the environment, and respond with urgency, flexibility, and compassion to the individual needs. These all tie in some way, shape, or form in how we measure this using the school perception survey. So as we look into survey tools and things like that and why we use them, we create these strategic plan objectives to then find that item to help us measure those things. Obviously, the school perception survey in and of itself, like I said earlier, doesn't always tell the full story, and that's why we have those other components, and that's why the connections with the students are so important. So this is just that same kind of graphic you saw, except for with percentages. And this is just more so saying the importance of school perceptions pretty much says that maintaining around a 3.0 or higher is about what we're shooting for. It's unrealistic that we would always have a 4 for everything because it would be the student perception surveys. I forget if it's 47 or 52 questions. I always get it confused with a couple of other assessments that we have. But of those questions, you would have to rate every single one as a 4 in order to have an outcome of as a 4. So even one answer of that would be lower. So having a 4 is an unrealistic expectation. But having a 3 is a completely realistic expectation. It means that in general, students agree with all of the statements, and that's what we're generally shooting for. Before we go too much further, one of the things I want to talk about is when you get your results for your own student, you may find that perhaps they have like a 2.5 on an indice. 2.5 doesn't necessarily mean that the student has concerns or issues within the indice. It may just need for us to ask further questions as to what's going on. Where we generally start to get concerned with students is if they're at a 2 or lower overall. And if they get into the 1.5 range or less, we're generally meeting as teams to figure out why that is. The other thing that we look for from year to year with individual student data is major drops in particular. If I see a student that has a 3.2 on the overall survey and drops to a 3.1, I'm not overly concerned about that. If I have a student who's sitting at a 3.2 and drops to maybe a 2.2, that's something that we're going to flag as concern, and we're going to end up following up with that student to see if we can figure out why. The reasons as to why students kind of drop in those areas are vast in reason based on the indice that it impacts and based on kind of how the student is feeling. But generally, there are other patterns that we find along with it, such as attendance drops, academic drops, reduction in participation in extracurriculars. They tend to all kind of be synonymous with that. And that's why it's also important that we do those pulse surveys and see those other sorts of data outcomes, because this is just a singular point in time. Similar to our ACT, our map testing, our forward testing, all of those are really snapshots in time, and they can kind of give us some information. But overall, those other things are things that we're also using to really assess the ongoing status of students. So within the indices, we also have a couple of other competencies as subcategories. Mr. Ebert highlighted a couple of questions that we really pull out as important, and they're related to wellness and social emotional aptitude. I don't have these data points crunched yet, but as you can see, within wellness and social emotional aptitude, each year we've been able to climb slowly and slowly because we really, really emphasize the importance of students' well-being and their overall ability to regulate, right? So the high school staff is really good at integrating some of these conversations and some of these things that they work with students within, and how they actually approach their day-to-day work within the classrooms, how they set up their lesson plans. All of it is integrated in order to make sure to maximize the outcomes for students' well-being within the classroom. And they're all well adept and well trained to find whenever a student is in a place of having a concern or off, right? Similarly to how many of you know the instant that your child walks in the door, something is wrong, we work very hard as staff to try and have a similar, if not close, kind of gut check feeling about some of our students because of how well we know them. That is the intention of this work. So the last thing I want to highlight, and we talk about this from the important aspect of co-curriculars, right? Homestead has a million different things that kids can get involved in. I don't think it's actually possible to be involved with every single one. We joke about this on a regular basis, but Homestead has something for everyone, and if it doesn't, there's a way to make it. So Homestead Athletics just has this together just to kind of highlight a couple things about how much kids actually participate. So on the next slide, what you're going to see is really the mantra of Homestead Athletics and extracurriculars, and how that kind of ties in with the school perception survey, right? So it's not just our teachers, it's our coaches, it's our volunteers, it's all of those people who interact with your students on a regular basis, not just within the hours of the school day, right? So together we foster a culture where we strive for excellence, develop transferable skills, and provide service to others. We strive for academic success, we strive for athletic success, and all of that kind of really ties in to the physical and mental well-being and the social skills of students. On this last slide, what you're going to see is kind of some participation points. So just some quick facts. We have 29 sports programs. We have every single WIAA sport that's available. We have over 700 individual student athletes. We have 1,000 total participants annually. So 700 students, that's over half of the high school, participate in at least one sport. When you jump up to 1,000, that means you have half of the students who participate in sports participate in more than one. We have 90 coaches, 305 conference championships, 116 individual state championships, and 47 state championships. Athletics is very ingrained in the Homestead High School experience. The other thing that you don't see here too is the amount of extracurriculars that we have that are constantly going in and out. So I know some of you maybe don't have kids that are super on the world of athletics, right? We have a fantastic theater department that engages many, many kids. We have a fantastic language department that provides many opportunities to travel abroad on different occasions. We have a fantastic orchestra and band department and choir department. They put on some of the best shows in the symphony orchestra. All of those in some way, shape, or form, I would be hard pressed to say that not every single kid has at least an opportunity. And when we come across a student that generally falls short of where we would like them to be as far as interactions with staff and other students, we often find that they're not connected in some way beyond just academics. And so that's something that we very purposely try and foster by connecting them with students that are either in something of interest or seeing if there's something we can create for them. So that's kind of my nice 15-minute spiel-ish about the perception survey, how we use it, the different other measures that we use often to kind of figure out where students are doing from like a social well-being standpoint and a post-secondary readiness standpoint. I know that one of the questions that was asked to me and oftentimes comes across is, you know, how do I as a parent, how can I help foster some of these things whenever I get the stuff that comes home? I get this piece of paper and it says some of these scores on it. I would just encourage you to have a conversation with your student. You know, what does this mean to you? Does this matter to you? How are you engaged? What does this look like? Can I help you be engaged? Do you not want me to help you be engaged? I think the biggest thing that we find too, that parents who are involved with their students also oftentimes have higher perception scores because they have a solid foundation in order to be able to transfer that to the real world also, right? So we see that in tandem very often. And I feel very, very fortunate to work in a district where we have such a strong parental unit that's willing and ready to be a part of our process as it goes. So that's all the questions, or that's all the things that I have as it relates. I am open for any questions that anybody might have.
That's fantastic. I'll leave room for questions, but just wanted to comment that it's just a great time for you to be able to kind of come and walk through some of this information with us. So thank you very much for that. I think it's a really valuable thing to kind of get a reminder on. And I guess that is part of my comment slash question, is that sometimes I think as parents we forget that there is so much deliberate kind of action behind some of these opportunities that our kids have in school. Obviously at the high school level, we're not as involved in taking them to some of these things, but the clubs, like you said, the languages, the merit award. I mean, there's so many of these activities that are designed to really kind of build that engagement, that are pieces that our students can access. So it's just nice to know that it's a nice reminder that there are so many different ways our kids can get involved and interact and get engaged. Do you guys use this information to kind of help assess some of those clubs, activities, opportunities? I'm guessing that maybe even this career day is kind of a piece of that. Just giving, to use that information, kind of assess what things our students can interact with at a high school level?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, the career fair was part of a brainchild as it related to awareness related to academic and career preparedness. So over the past couple of years, our scores related to specifically, academic and career preparedness were kind of low. And we were having a hard time kind of understanding why. We believed that kids were having a hard time connecting how school potentially related to career, because as many of us at many different points in time, we're sitting in class and we're like, how in the world is this ever going to connect to anything that I'm going to do? The career fair and that concept was a brainchild of figuring out a way to better bridge the gap between school and the world of work. So that is one example of how that information has been used in order to kind of bolster some of those experiences. Similar thing to some of the access for extracurriculars. One of the highest specific question points we have is I am involved in one extracurricular or sport at school. We generally hit the like 90 to 95% of that because kids identify that they're in something. We keep a close eye on that because if that ever dips too much, we then start to wonder, is it because the programming that we're involved in or offering isn't something that kids are interested in? And what can we do to kind of change that aspect? The other one that we use is specifically, I have an adult in the building that cares about my future or cares about me. That question will actually identify specifically for students one-on-one whenever they have them low, and we'll have specific targets to try and make connections with those students. So those are just a couple of microcosm examples, but we have a variety of different things that we use within those. And oftentimes our building leaders are using that as part of their school improvement plan goals.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other questions?
I have more of a comment. It's really encouraging to hear this because we do hear and see a lot of the media out there that's really giving us a look at what our teens are going through, and it really doesn't seem very positive. So this is really encouraging. And then to tag on to that, just going through the parent-teacher conferences we did, I really felt meeting with each of those teachers that they truly did know my child, even in this short, we haven't been all that far into this trimester, but I really did feel like they weren't just reading off of out of their notes what they've accomplished so far, but they really felt like they had some kind of a pulse on what my child was, where they were at. So just more of a comment than anything. And then the question, do you know if other schools run these same kind of surveys and use that as their data to make judgments on how they're going to continue with their social and emotional aspect of their teaching?
Yeah, so prior to COVID, it started to be something that started to kind of be used. After COVID, it's kind of become the gold standard. Most schools have some form of survey that they use. You'll find that there's kind of two types of surveys. They both ask the same questions, but the type of data outcome you get is a little different. So one type of survey tends to be a little bit more flexible and more global, and will maybe give you overarching composite scores, maybe for a whole class or for a whole grade or for a whole school, but it won't give you individual student results. And then you have other ones that will give you specific individual student results. We have found value over the years in having individual student results because we can be very deliberate in broaching those students whenever we're seeing those types of dips. So a common one that people have heard of, for example, is the YRBS. It's the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. It's run once every other year, and it's part of a national database. We don't use that one because we participate in school perceptions every year, and then we also pulse on it. So we get more data points, right? The YRBS is more of a informative once every other year, where we're actively and purposely using the tool as a form to intervene when students are starting to struggle.
It's really impressive sometimes to get these reminders. I think we get a lot of pieces of information in the mail from the district. We get a lot of updates about our students. We know that they're participating in all these things. But this is a really nice validation of kind of how much attention our students are getting within the district, that sometimes is easy to overlook. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. It can be an easy thing. It's like it's one of those things when they're all doing well, it's hard to figure out if something actually is going on. But I appreciate the time. It's been really nice to speak to you all this evening.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? All right. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
We will go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and come back to our agenda here. And we will start running through our officer reports for the remainder of our meeting and our time together. We'll have Jenny, if she's on, for our approval of the March minutes.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we have the meeting minutes up on the screen, and they're also distributed in short kilts this week. Any questions or on the minutes at all, or concerns? Do I have a no? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Any objections? Minutes approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then next we have a quick overview of our budget.
Good evening, everyone. The treasury report for March, we had a beginning balance of $34,436.98. We had deposits in the amount of $268.15, which comprised of Leave a Legacy and grad greetings. We had withdrawals and expenses, which consisted of $302.55 for teacher appreciation. And then our ending bank balance was $34,402.58.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then President's report. Trudy, do you mind?
Yeah, no, I have it right here. We have successfully brought in guest speakers for our recent PTSO meetings, and they provide valuable insight to our members. We look forward to continuing to present engaging and relevant topics, and we welcome input for future subjects you'd like to see covered for this year and even next year. We continue to participate in our area council, gaining valuable insights into the initiatives of our educational community through reports and presentations from our school administration, board of directors, education foundation, recreation department, and other PTOs in the area. We are placing a a strong focus on the events and opportunities available to the senior class of 2025. To support these efforts, we've brought together several committees to help organize key elements such as the senior dinner, the grad greetings, the part of graduation, and then the Leave a Legacy. A dedicated group of parents are working very diligently on getting these events going so they run smoothly. And you'll hear some of these reports in a little bit further on down the meeting. Last but not least, we are excited to continue strengthening our network of support for both our students and administration. With just 7 weeks of instruction left of the 2024-25 year, we are already focusing on preparing our new PTSO officers for the 25-26 school year. The nomination committee will present their slate of candidates later in this meeting also. We are wrapping up this school year. We encourage you to consider how you can contribute to our efforts, both in finishing the current school year strong and in future volunteering opportunities for the next school year. So that is the end of the president's report.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep you on the line to give an update. I know we've mentioned it a couple of times, but for staff appreciation.
Yeah. This staff appreciation committee, it's really committed to showing our high school staff how much we value their hard work. And one of the ways we do this is through making sure they have nourishment during the long conference days. A dedicated team of 6 volunteers head up this organization, and they set up and monitor and clean up these events. For the recent parent-teacher conference, we were able to provide a taco bar, which was already mentioned, and that was generously funded by the sophomore families and catered by Apple Spice Catering. In addition, we offered a variety of fruit and sweet and savory snacks that they could take with them. It was like a grab and go that they could have a little bit later on as their day may drag on for those. Upcoming event for it is our Staff Appreciation Week, and we celebrated a little at a different time than the national one. That way we avoid conflict with the standardized and AP exams. This year we'll be providing lunch for the entire staff on May 21st, funded by donations from families across Homestead. The opportunities to help will be offered through everyone's MTK account. We partnered with the Prime Minister to serve a wonderful Greek-inspired buffet. This has been a favorite in the past. And in addition to that, we give each staff member a $20 gift card to a selection of local eateries and stores, mainly as a token of our gratitude. As we look ahead to the next school year, we are seeking additional committee members to join our team to fill some of the spots that parents who have students that are graduating will be moving on from us. We encourage you to consider volunteering. For more information, please just email our PTSO. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trudy.
Mhm.
We have a slew of senior updates for the PTSO. Obviously, graduation is around the corner for our seniors. We have a great kind of senior committee together with our grad greetings, our Leave a Legacy, and our senior dinner committee chairs. Anyone interested in giving an update there?
Hi, this is Gina Gudex. I could give a little update on senior dinner if you'd like. We have a Mexican dinner prepared for the seniors for the Sunday prior to graduation. And there's going to be a dessert table. Trying to think of, we're going to have speakers and a slideshow. And stay tuned on Homestead 411. Your student may find access to the Google Drive folder where you should drop photos of your senior and their friends in that. And then Owen, my son, and a few other students from multimedia will be putting together a slideshow to play in the PAC. Let's see, Linda, what else do we want to say?
I think you covered it. Basically, just to clarify with the photos that are being dropped, we want them to be memories of Homestead. They can be off premise, like if they were at the Costa Rica trip for Spanish or something like that, but we really just don't want random, hanging out at somebody's house pictures. We would rather have it be something that reflects the 4 years that they were here at Homestead.
Yes, so if anyone has any questions, but that's sort of the gist of it. It'll be a fast and fun night, and we hope to have as many seniors as possible attend. There will be a photo booth. We have a fun photo booth, and after the evening there will be a link where you can see all of the photos that were taken that night and download them for your memories.
That's wonderful. Thank you both so much for all of your work there. We really appreciate it. And I know all of our senior families are looking forward to it. That's great. And thanks to Owen for putting that together for us. I know Christina Rader is doing grad greetings. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but just a reminder there that all of these updates have been going out in short kilts and in separate emails as well, just with some of these dates reminders. Grad greetings are due by the end of the month. So if you're planning to do those, please do pay attention to that April 30th deadline. That deadline is coming up. I think that's one of our first ones. Anything else before we move on?
Hi. Okay. Christina and I were working together on the grad greetings, and she shared something because she probably was not able to attend it, and I can read that out if you want. Or I mean, there as of April 22nd's report that was shared with us, we have 451 teacher grants versus 569 in 2024. We still have almost 1.5 week left. We have 649 parents versus 2,102 in 2024. And I think we'll get a lot of them in coming week because everybody tends to delay that, just waiting for the last day to push that. And then we sent one email yesterday saying how many students didn't have anything from the parents and the teachers. And then there will be an email going out for that. And for this year, we have, compared to the last year, we have a thicker front and back page than we had last time, but not that kind of book that we had a couple years ago, because the copy master cannot do that. And then copy master will provide us some blank sheets, and then I'm not sure how we'll get those to the parents who are not able to get these by end of the month. But
I see. So they could fill them in or print them themselves.
Correct. So, but
We
yes,
have
we'll
ones coming in, like, people are like, oh my God, I totally
Mhm.
forgot. And, they're already at the printer and we really can't do anything about that. But if we have those blank sheets, then, they can insert them on their own and still have a way to.
right. So we'll get those printed from Copymaster sometime in May, like beginning of May. And anything, yes, I mean, the most important thing here is like if we can send those emails out to the families, which will help get us more people, because when the kids get those greetings and they don't see and the families don't see their, I mean, it's just heartbreaking for some families thinking that, oh, I forgot, I should have done that. So, but if we can keep on reminding, it'll be good. I mean, at least people can try and put those in. So that's all I had.
That's a great reminder. I have
Out
not
the
entered a
emails today that for the ones that don't have any grad greetings, those went out today from Nancy. And then we'll have another communication, I think, go out on Friday to everybody that is a senior parent that we have an email address for the PTSO. And then I think we'll have another one go out, hopefully from Dana on Wednesday and probably from us as well. So we will have plenty of more reminders for everyone. So
Thank you. Yep. That's
what they need.
that'll be good. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Manny. And thank you for the reminder. I haven't entered a single one on for my senior yet either. So I will get to that. Appreciate it. Okay. If no other questions about senior things, but again, please, like, I think that's a great reminder. If you run into other parents, if you're talking with other students, if you're at track meets, this is a great reminder for all the senior parents that there's a lot going on right now. Moving from our seniors to focusing on another activity kind of for the end of the year. Trudy and I have been very lucky to work with an incredible PTSO board for this year as your co-presidents, and we are very excited to introduce the nominations for the board for next year. I think Nancy is going to introduce our, as part of our nominating committee, was going to introduce our nominees.
I will do that. Thank you so much for your work this year, Veronica and Trudy, and all the other officers. So on behalf of the nominating committee, which is myself, Gina Gudex, and Linda Walsh, for the office of president, the nominations for co-president are Jamie O'Connor and Melissa Blydorn. For the office of vice president, the nominations for co-vice president are Kelly Robinson and Becky Woody. For the office of secretary, the nomination is Jenny McDonald. For the office of treasurer, the nomination is Jenna Espinoza. Are there any further nominations from the floor for any of these positions? Okay, hearing or seeing none, nominations are closed and the election of the slate of officers will occur at the next PTSO meeting on May 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. That does bring us to a just a point to bring up in this meeting and meetings going forward. We have a lot of opportunity, I think, to bring fresh people into the PTSO as we close out this year and we look towards next year. I think an organization like this thrives when new parents get involved and bring their perspective and their knowledge. And obviously, at some point, we all end up aging out here with our students. So please share this information, bring new people in. Well, the PTSO will be at the freshman co-curricular night at the very beginning of May, so we will also share this information. And please jump in if there are specific things that you want to talk about any of these positions, but we really just wanted to share it here, and we will share it in communications moving forward, that we've had incredible people working as chairs or heads of these committees, but we would love to bring in co-chairs or more volunteers for these committees as we go into next year. So opportunities are that we have completely open is for the advertising and sponsorship committee. We always have a lot of hands that are needed for beautification. Our booster liaison could use a hand. We have our fly guy has been very dedicatedly taken care of by Melissa Blydorn, but she could definitely use some support there going into next year. Homecoming, grad greetings, leave a legacy, teacher wish list, senior dinner, staff appreciation. And then we have MTK and short kilts as well. I know these people would, everybody here would love, if you're excited to get involved and would love to join a committee, we would love to have you. So keep us in mind, share the news if you know somebody who would be a great fit.
I'll know that Boosters is looking for people too, because they've got some senior parents that are aging out. So
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Anything else there? All right. We appreciate it. Like we said, we will share this information, but it is a goal to kind of bring in some new people as we look towards next year. Organizational reports, Trudy, if you don't mind giving us a quick update on area council.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, we have the opportunity to be a part of the area council, and it's really encouraging to see all those different entities coming together and collaborating and just informing each other of the business of our education system here. So it's really good. This last meeting that was hosted. Well, what was the date? I don't know the date. It was a week and a half ago on a Wednesday. They had, Dr. Joint had talked about the referendums in Wisconsin, and he emphasized the importance of the MTSD's commitment to legislation advocacy and emphasized the urgency of community members to contact our state legislators during the month of April. Secondly, they had a guest speaker there, Dr. Lauren Crux and Sarah Sum, and they're the directors of admissions and academic programs. They spoke on how the MTSD assessment of academic performance is used to make decisions throughout our schools. And the representative for the school board was Dr. Gavagan, shared that the 2025-26 they approved the strategic plan that should be available on the district website soon. Maybe it is already since the meeting. He also talked about the approved sponsorship in the new pickleball courts. MTEF, they talked about excellence in education nominations that they were accepting applications out. Now that did close on April 17th. The area council, they're also looking for volunteers for next year's council for being a part of the council as officers, and they are accepting those nominations until April 30th. And then we heard a SOAR report from the Dodges Bay PTO. There was a lot of other stuff that was discussed in the meeting, but it's just too lengthy to go over everything. It's really a valuable organization, I guess, council to be a part of, and I hope we never lose that. It's very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we have Nicole on tonight for an update on voices. For some reason, Melissa, we have you giving us an update on Fly Guy.
He made his first appearance at a baseball game about a week ago, so I guess that's the update. He's looking great.
I guess. Thank you for getting Fly Guy back out. The season's here for it.
Season has begun. Yep. First sign of spring. Fly Guy's
Little
back.
funny thing, you'd sent that picture of him, and then like an hour later, my son went out for a bike ride, and he comes back and he shows me a picture of that, and I said, I already knew that was out.
You could see it from the whole, that whole area.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. And I don't know again if Julie is available for a boosters update. I don't think she's here. Okay. Thank you for all of our reports tonight. I appreciate it. Any old business to discuss? Anything we've missed? Any new business to discuss? All right. Before we have a motion to adjourn, just a reminder that we will have our final PTSO meeting here on Zoom next month on Thursday, May 22nd. As we discussed earlier, we will have the formal vote for our board for next year and are excited for that. Anything else before we close? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time, as always, for spending it here with us on a Thursday night.
Great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thanks. Good night.